Lloyd, we're heading full into spring, kind of heading into summer. Looking at a high river all over. Probably doesn't affect this area as much. Warmer winter than usual. Talk about how those conditions are affecting the Dularge area, Cocodrie area, and kind of what you see happening in the next few months or weeks.
Well, the last 2 weeks we've had a lot warmer, more stable weather, and the trout bite has really been a lot better. And no one has really been far out, as like when I'm talking about the pickets and things, or where we went, you know, out to 58, 30, out the rigs and all.
Right.
But from Grand Cayubaya east, the trout fishing has been real good. The water's been cleaner. The only time you don't get a lot of clean water is because of the high Atchafalaya River. If you have a strong southwest wind, you know, it pushes that river water back up to us. But when it happens, you just go a little bit farther east. You know, you're pretty, all that's accessible. Either running on the inside of the marsh, you know, running inside a sister, making your way over to what they call Dog Lake, and making your way on the inside of Whiskey Island. There's a ton of oyster reefs and just a lot of secluded marsh that you can get out of the wind if you have wind, like we did today. We were fortunate, you know, we went out to the coast because we had a northerly wind, and we fished from the inside and didn't do anything except your nice blue cat. And then
Thank you very much. Yes, I did.
But we got lucky. Once we got to the outside, the water was a little bit cleaner. Tide was coming in, and you know, bam, we got on that one little hump and really worked them over really good, which was good to see because they were all nice trout. We had no throwbacks. On old white curl-tail Berkeley Gold, boys.
Pearl white swimming
Yep,
mullet.
you got another one.
Alvin, you need to come up here.
Come up on the front.
Come up here.
Okay.
See, get over here. No.
Don't let him.
We don't allow pride in the back of the boat.
They're coming in on both sides. Come in the front. He's front ending you.
Go watch out.
He's got another one on.
I can't keep this damn bait up on this hook.
Oh, let's get you hooked up.
Go back to the Zoom if you need. What? That's a monster.
That's a
It's a
hammer.
monster. So if somebody launches from Jeremy's Falgout Canal Marina, what's their strategy? What are they doing right now? What do they need to just game plan plan A?
Well, if they're looking to redfish, once you make your way across Lake Decad, and you can even fish in Lake Decad and fish that lee shore, you saw how pretty the water was. You can fish spinnerbaits, crankbaits, chatterbaits. There's not a lot of grass in the water yet. So, you know, a pop and cork with a jig, a gulp and a cork, and fish those lee shores of all these big bays, making your way out to the outside water. But you know, you want to fish reds, there's so much interior marsh you can fish. If not, you make your way out to the end outside of Rackasee, you pop out into Lake Michon, run across it, and then, you know, spots are unlimited from there.
So pretty much anything south of Michon right now
For trout, yes.
is going to be your just your prime speckled trout zone.
Yes,
All
yeah.
right. Now, so we're sort of on the back end of what we call transition fishing. Was there a trout season inshore this year?
There was late November, December. We mashed them, but it was only for a couple weeks, and it was like, where did they come from, and then where did they go?
I think it disappeared.
It didn't last long. The trout weren't where they normally were. A lot of the old timers were, you know, they call it a cycle.
Yeah.
I believe it. I really do. Now, next fall, we get to this point, we're not catching them. Maybe we do have some issues, but I don't think, you know, I mean, we have some real good signs of some good trout catches already early here in the spring.
Today was one of them,
yes.
no doubt about
that. And the conditions were crummy. You know, we had a 20-mile-an-hour north wind.
Dirty water.
Right.
A lot of dirty water.
Dirty water, so.
You think this is, as far as a comparative discussion, everything seems to be ahead, behind, better, worse? What are you seeing for this early summer?
I think it's ahead because, all right, so I've only been here a year and a month. I fished here a good bit, but I've been here solid
really
for a year.
Yeah.
And but I was fishing a lot of these areas last year, not catching any trout, catching bull reds, or just fishing the inside marshes to catch reds, because I would go and look for trout in the same areas and we weren't catching them. And now, bam, they're there. You know, we are catching them. So, and I'll be honest, the other day I came up on the inside of Grand Cayuba and fished in a couple interior bays, and actually got in some shallow water and saw a bunch of little shrimp, which, you know, I had a couple other guides tell me the same thing. They saw some shrimp in the same area. So we get some good high spring tides, get some good flushes of some good salt water. I think it's going to be real good.
We've had above normal water temperatures, and that assists in the shrimp growth.
Right.
So that would make some sense that our shrimp are going to be a little early, a little bigger, and out there. Certainly right now the trout are starting to look for salinity because they're getting close to their little spawning seasons and all of that. Critical. Shell reefs or sand flats, which is more important?
Shells.
Okay, so
that's me.
Yeah.
I'm more of a shell guy, rocks, some type of rough structure that we're going to lose a lot of jig heads on. But when I do have those issues, when I have clients that can't fish with those jig heads and just tight line it, we just go to a cork, set it at put it whatever depth you feel. You today had that lighter jig head and it worked like a champ. Your cork floated across the top of those rocks with the current, with that incoming tide, and I mean, you put on a clinic for a while.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're looking for shells over sandbars, which you have a fair amount of, especially on the coastal areas or here. It's not much marsh mud. You get sand once you
Right.
get out, and you think the shells are more productive. And the good news about that is most of them have some poles.
Right.
Somebody's checking them, maybe fishing them, dredging them, oyster-wise, and that sort of thing.
Right.
How important is deep water near a reef? Is it a benefit? I mean, is it necessary every time?
No, not every time, but see, like where we were catching our fish today, right out, I mean, like just, if you were walking on it and all of a sudden it drops off to 9, 10 feet. And the only reason why I know that is because when I come out that bayou, that's where all the shrimp boats push constantly right there. They're always, and they messed me up a couple times. You know, I was sitting there fishing and they passed through and they passed close to it. I guess they know how close they can pass to that reef without getting hung up or something on their nets. You know, but those fish came and went on that spot that we were fishing today.
Right.
We caught them for a little while. Did they leave just because they were coming up on that rock and feeding, and then they were kind of just dropping back off? Or was a bull red coming across because I lost a bull red, chased them out, a shark, who knows?
Just cruising around. And,
Right.
And another theory is very simply this: the tide does not stay consistent. It increases, it decreases in speed. It may even be affected by the wind. And as it does, it creates different areas of opportunity for those fish. So they just move around.
Right. I mean, we
adjust.
Y'all were catching them like at that stump, at that stump, at that stump, at that stump, and then all of a sudden, then finally on the right side, I started catching a couple. And a lot of times people get stuck in that. Man, they're not here anymore. Let's go.
Right.
Well, we keep talking about a puzzle, but
Fancast,
you got to think about all the what's holding those fish there.
What's changed in the water? What was
right?
Well,
I mean, the whole time we were there.
Where's the eddy now?
My power pole, we had floated up another foot,
yeah.
And he noticed that, hey, that pole's in a different spot. I was catching fish and unhooking fish and not paying attention, and I said, oh, I need to put my power pole down some more, because the tide was coming up and we started drifting up.
You're not gonna get much past Alvin now.
No, Mr. Alvin was on it, boy.
So, all right, you're looking at a good season. You think all the conditions are right. Bait, I saw bait everywhere. I saw a lot of early bait. Pelicans are going crazy. The lyrebirds
but that just changed when I said about that full moon.
As soon as
we just had our,
But isn't it always like that? Don't
Yes.
Every year we get weather, rain, little cold front pushes through, gets through, the wind gets big.
We get pouty. Man.
And then there's this
Boom.
one weekend.
Yeah.
Everybody goes out and that's it.
Yes.
It's a switch.
And
I think you've said it. The switch has been switched here. So this is probably going to be, with the river the way it is this year, it's probably going to be one of the hot areas this year. I
think so. But and last year, below Cocodrie and east of Cocodrie, between Cocodrie and Fouchon, was hot, stayed hot. We were kind of hit and miss, and I kept having to go farther east. it's nice to see that I can only, you know, I'm right here,
Look.
and I'm catching fish early already, and the river is real high. So, you know, it's shaping up to be a real good summer.
Captain Lloyd Landry, Outcast Charters, now in Dularge, working out of Falgout Marina with Jeremy and having a ball. The fish we caught today were phenomenal. My biggest speckled trout for this year by far. My best catch for speckled trout by far. I think this is going to be a great season for you. All the information to get in touch with Captain Lloyd's right there on your screen. And we will be back soon, as long as you'll have us.
Oh, every time, brother.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.